The mouse Utopia experiment, conducted by behavioral scientist John B. Calhoun in the 1960s and 70s, was a groundbreaking study in which mice were placed in an environment of unlimited food, water, and shelter, with no natural predators. It was meant to simulate a perfect world free from survival threats, where the only limitation was space. Calhoun created a controlled environment known as Universe 25, a 4x4-foot enclosure designed to house up to 3,840 mice in conditions of abundance and comfort. The experiment was divided into distinct phases. Phase 1, initial growth, days 1 to 104. The first mice introduced to the enclosure adjusted quickly, forming territories and engaging in normal social behaviors. Birth rates were high, and the population grew exponentially. Phase 2, population boom, days 105 to 315. The population continued to increase, doubling approximately every 55 days. As space became more crowded, dominant males began to withdraw from social interactions, avoiding territorial disputes. Subordinate males, lacking social roles, became more passive and started displaying submissive behaviors. Female mice took on more aggressive roles, sometimes neglecting or even attacking their own offspring. Phase 3, social collapse, days 315 to 560. As the colony reached its peak population, about 2,200 mice, social order began to break down. Mating behavior became erratic. Many females stopped reproducing altogether. A subset of mice, known as the beautiful ones, withdrew from all social activity, focusing only on grooming and self-preservation. Phase 4. Extinction, days 560 to 600 plus. Aggression, cannibalism, and apathy spread throughout the population, disrupting traditional social structures. Birth rates plummeted to nearly zero, and the few remaining mice failed to reproduce. The society became fragmented, with most individuals either engaging in self-destructive behaviors or isolating themselves completely. Even when the population declined and more space became available, the social order never recovered, leading to total colony collapse. Today, many scholars and sociologists have drawn unsettling parallels between the mouse Utopia experiment and modern human society, particularly in how overabundance, societal stagnation, ideological extremism, and identity politics are shaping our civilization. The struggle between far-left utopianism and far-right reactionary pushback mirrors some of the behavioral patterns observed in Calhoun's experiment. In the early stages of mouse Utopia, the population thrived. With no natural enemies and abundant resources, the mice multiplied rapidly, developing a structured social order. However, as the population increased, the mice began to display signs of stress and social dysfunction. Modern parallel post-industrial revolution growth. Humanity has experienced rapid advancements in science, technology, and living standards, leading to economic growth, urbanization, and improved quality of life. Expansion of social programs, welfare systems, universal health care, and workplace regulations have removed many traditional survival pressures, much like the mice were given food and shelter without effort. As the population grew in the mouse Utopia, traditional social structures began to break down. The dominant males who had once established order lost their purpose and retreated from leadership roles. Subordinate males became increasingly passive, avoiding competition. Modern parallel gender role reversal and identity crisis. The decline of traditional gender roles in modern society has led to a rise in confusion and ideological conflicts regarding gender identity and masculinity. Deterioration of the family unit, rising single-parent households, declining birth rates, and the prioritization of career over family reflect a breakdown similar to what was observed in the mouse experiment. Loss of purpose in men. Many men in developed societies feel increasingly alienated, experiencing higher rates of depression, suicide, and lack of ambition due to diminishing traditional roles. Calhoun observed that a subset of male mice, dubbed the beautiful ones, emerged. These mice withdrew from normal social interactions, focused solely on grooming themselves, and exhibited no interest in mating, raising young, or contributing to the colony. Modern parallel, the rise of social media culture. Many individuals today live in carefully curated online personas, prioritizing appearances and social validation over meaningful connections. Declining birth rates and relationship apathy. Many developed nations are seeing record-low birth rates as younger generations delay or avoid traditional family structures in favor of superficial engagements. Rise in narcissistic and individualistic behavior. Much like the beautiful ones, modern youth are drawn toward hyper-individualism, prioritizing self-image over social responsibility. As social dysfunction increased in the mouse utopia, new behavioral pathologies emerged, leading to hostility, passivity, and avoidance. In human civilization, we see similar trends as far-left utopianism and far-right reactionary movements collide, much like the social chaos that unfolded in the final stages of the experiment. Far-left utopianism and social breakdown, radical equity agendas, pushing for equal outcomes rather than equal opportunities mirrors the unnatural forced distribution of resources in mouse utopia, which led to apathy and social decay. Overcorrection on gender and identity issues. The erosion of biological distinctions and the push for gender fluidity create confusion and undermine traditional societal structures, much like how mice lost their defined roles. Victimhood culture. Many people today are encouraged to view themselves as victims rather than empowered individuals, leading to widespread resentment and societal division. Far-right reactionary pushback rise of traditionalism and nationalism. As a counter-response, there is a growing movement toward strict gender roles, nationalism, and the glorification of historical norms. Despite the grim outlook, humans have the ability to recognize patterns and adjust in ways that the mice in the experiment could not. Here are key takeaways from Mouse Utopia that can help us prevent societal collapse. Restore purpose and meaning. Encourage self-sufficiency, ambition, and goal-oriented lifestyles rather than reliance on government or social safety nets alone. Balance individual rights with societal stability. Foster policies that respect personal freedoms without dismantling foundational structures such as family, meritocracy, and social cohesion. Avoid extreme identity politics and work towards unifying rather than dividing people. Reinforce healthy social roles. Support balanced gender roles where both men and women feel valued in their contributions to society. Promote real-world engagement over digital escapism, reduce dependency on social media validation, and encourage face-to-face interactions. Shift cultural priorities toward long-term fulfillment rather than instant gratification. The Mouse Utopia experiment serves as a dark reflection of where unchecked prosperity, social stagnation, and ideological extremism can lead. If humanity wishes to thrive in the long term, we must recognize these patterns and take active steps to cultivate meaning, purpose, and balance in our society. Rather than succumbing to the same fate as Calhoun's mice, we must build a world where advancement is coupled with responsibility, innovation is balanced with tradition, and unity triumphs over division.